crowd roars in Addis Ababa. The year is 1930. A man dressed in royal robes steps forward, his crown shimmering under the sun. Incense burns, choirs sing, and cannon fire echoes through the mountains. His coronation title shakes the world. Hail Selassie I, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. But this is more than a king's story. It is a story of Africa's last emperor, the man who defied colonization, inspired the world, and became a god to millions. Haile Selassie ruled Ethiopia for more than 4 decades, from 1930 to 1974, guiding one of Africa's oldest kingdoms through war, modernization, and revolution. He stood before the League of Nations as the first African voice against fascism. He resisted Italy's invasion, reclaimed his throne, and symbolized Africa's pride in an age of empire. To the Rastafarians of Jamaica, he was a messiah. To Africans fighting for independence, he was a face of freedom. But beneath the myth was a man, visionary yet flawed, modern yet bound by tradition, whose rise and fall mirror the story of Africa itself. Haile Selassie was born Tafari Makinen in 1892 in the mountain town of Ejersagoro, Ethiopia. His father was a nobleman. His lineage traced back to the Solomonic dynasty, the bloodline said to descend from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. From a young age, Tafari was different, intelligent, disciplined, and ambitious. He studied languages, theology, and governance under priests and scholars. His calm, calculating mind earned him favor in Emperor Menelik II's court. By his teens, he had already become a governor. By his 20s, he was one of Ethiopia's most powerful princes. But the old empire was changing. European powers surrounded Ethiopia, the last independent African kingdom. Tafari saw that survival required more than faith and tradition. It demanded modernization. When Emperor Menelik II died in 1913, Ethiopia entered a period of chaos. Tafari maneuvered carefully through court intrigues and rebellions. His intelligence, diplomacy, and patience made him indispensable. In 1916, he helped depose Empress Zewde II's rivals and was appointed Rastafari Makinen, regent and heir apparent. He became the driving force behind Ethiopia's modernization. He introduced schools, telegraphs, and a national bank. He abolished slavery, opened Ethiopia to international trade, and joined the League of Nations in 1923, the first African nation to do so. Then, in 1930, Empress Zewde II died, and Tafari Makinen ascended the throne as Haile Selassie I, meaning power of the Trinity. His coronation was attended by dignitaries from across the world. For the first time, a black emperor was recognized as equal among world leaders. But glory was short-lived. In 1935, Italian dictator Benito Mussolini invaded Ethiopia, determined to avenge Italy's earlier defeat at Adwa in 1896. Italian bombers rained poison gas upon Ethiopian soldiers. Villages burned. Yet Haile Selassie refused to surrender. In 1936, he traveled to Geneva and stood before the League of Nations, the world stage. His speech, calm but thunderous in message, echoed through history. It is us today. It will be you tomorrow. He warned the world that fascism, if left unchecked, would consume them all. But the League did nothing. Ethiopia fell. Haile Selassie went into exile in England, his country under occupation. Still, he never stopped fighting. Through radio broadcasts and diplomacy, he rallied Ethiopians to resist. And in 1941, with help from the Allies, Ethiopian patriots reclaimed Addis Ababa. Haile Selassie returned in triumph, the only leader ever restored to power by his own people after colonial invasion. After his return, Haile Selassie dedicated himself to transforming Ethiopia into a modern nation. He established universities, drafted a constitution, and worked to unite Ethiopia's diverse peoples. But modernization came slowly and not without critics. While revered abroad, many Ethiopians began questioning his rule at home. Feudal lords still held power, and poverty lingered in rural areas. In 1963, Haile Selassie hosted 32 African leaders in Addis Ababa, founding the Organization of African Unity, OAU, the forerunner of today's African Union. It was his proudest political achievement. He became the elder statesman of a rising continent, calling for unity, independence, and dignity. Yet, by the 1970s, famine, economic strain, and discontent spread. The emperor who had once symbolized progress was now seen by many as out of touch. In 1974, a military coup, led by the Derg, overthrew Haile Selassie. Footage of soldiers marching through the palace gates shocked the world. The emperor, now in his 80s, was placed under house arrest. 1 year later, he died under mysterious circumstances. Some say suffocated in his sleep. His death marked the end of a dynasty that had lasted for over 700 years. The last empire of Africa had fallen. Yet, the world mourned. To Rastafarians across the globe, he was no mortal king. He was a living embodiment of God, the Lion of Judah. His image, immortalized in reggae and resistance, lived on even as his throne turned to dust. Today, Haile Selassie's story lives in two worlds, history and faith. In Ethiopia, he remains a symbol of independence and identity. Streets and monuments still bear his name. His face graces murals, currency, and hearts. To Rastafarians in Jamaica, Ghana, and beyond, he is divine, the returned Messiah, whose words inspired peace and spiritual awakening. Haile Selassie's life reminds a world that Africa has always stood tall, sovereign, proud, and royal. He was the last emperor of Africa, but his roar still echoes across the continent. He was a Lion of Judah, the emperor who stood before empires and never bowed.